Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the pretty fascinating and, let's be honest, often provocative philosophy of Reverend Ike. He offered a really radical way to look at scripture, belief, and what it actually means to be prosperous.
All right, let's just jump right in with a statement that really sets the tone here. Reverend Ike believed that just carrying a Bible around didn't make you wise. In fact, it could make you dangerous. So why on earth would he say something like that?
Well, it's because, in his view, the Bible isn't some straightforward instruction manual. Not at all. He saw it as a book that was just packed with deep contradictions, a text you could use to justify pretty much any belief or any action, no matter how wild.
To really hammer this point home, he used this kind of dark but powerful example. He'd connect two totally unrelated verses to create a lethal command. Now, it's a shocking thing to put together, but his point was crystal clear. If you can do this, you can make the Bible say literally anything you want it to say.
And for him, this wasn't just some theory. He pointed to actual real-world examples. Things like religious groups handling rattlesnakes, or cults waiting on a mountaintop for a doomsday that never showed up. He even talked about something he called Bible whipping, this constant psychological beatdown from Scripture that he was convinced just led to neurosis and fear.
So here's the bottom line for him. He saw Scripture as this incredibly powerful tool. But, just like a two-edged sword, he warned that if you put it in untrained hands, it could do a whole lot of damage, both to the person holding it and to everyone around them.
So that begs a huge question, right? How can one single book hold so many conflicting ideas? To explain this, Reverend Ike came up with a really brilliant metaphor.
He starts by asking us to think about something incredibly simple, the English alphabet. Just 26 letters. That's it.
From this tiny little set of characters, you can build every single word, every sentence, every book, every poem, every argument in the entire English language.
I mean, think about it. You can use them to write love is everything, and you can turn right around and use those exact same letters to write love is a lie. You can build a powerful argument and then build its complete opposite from the very same toolkit.
And that is the light bulb moment in his whole philosophy. He argued the Bible works in the exact same way. The verses, they're just like the letters in the alphabet. You, the reader, you're the one who arranges them to spell out the message that you want to read.
So this leads us to a really pivotal question. If the verses are just an alphabet, then who is actually writing the story? Well, for Reverend Ike, the answer was simple. You are.
He taught that any text, but especially the Bible, is basically a mirror. It doesn't give you something new. It just reflects back what you're already carrying around inside your own mind, your own consciousness.
Let's break that down because it's a huge idea. So, a person who already believes in lack and limitation, what he called a poverty complex, they're going to open up the Bible and find every single verse that backs up their belief in suffering and scarcity. But someone with a mindset of abundance, they're going to read that same book and find all the verses that talk about joy, richness, and enjoying life. Same book, different readers, totally different messages.
And that whole idea of abundance brings us to his most famous and probably most misunderstood teaching, prosperity.
Now, when most people hear the word prosperity, their mind immediately goes here, right? Money, cars, houses, material wealth.
But for Reverend Ike, that was just one tiny piece of the pie. He defined true prosperity as a state of total balance, this holistic sense of well-being.
It means your mind should be healthy, your spirit should be at peace, your life should be filled with joy and with love. It's this full 360-degree vision of success where every single part of you is thriving, not just what's in your bank account.
And true to form, he would pull scripture to support this very idea, basically saying that this total well-being wasn't just okay. It was actually a divine desire. So ultimately, the proof of prosperity wasn't about what you owned. It was about how you felt. The real question was, are you actually enjoying the life that you have? For Reverend Ike, that enjoyment was the true sign of prosperity.
Okay, so if the meaning we find in the Bible really comes from within us, and if prosperity is an internal state of being, where does that leave all the big external concepts of religion? God, Jesus, heaven, hell.
This is where Reverend Ike brings it all home, right inside of you. He taught that these concepts, God, Jesus, heaven, hell, they weren't external places or people. They were psychological realities playing out inside our own consciousness.
And this is the final key.
The goal isn't to become something you're not. It's not about trying to be spiritual. His point was, you are spiritual already. Your only job is to recognize that fact. It's a huge shift from seeking to simply recognizing.
And so, Reverend Ike's whole philosophy comes full circle and leaves us with this powerful, very personal challenge. If a book like the Bible really is an alphabet for your beliefs, if it's a mirror reflecting your own mind, what does it show you? What story are you choosing to write?